about the ICT industry. You know, it is made to look like it is not for everyone, like it is not for the girl child and all of that. Okay. Trying to check my audio. It's going now. Thank you. So I'm going to direct the first question to Yaliwe Soko. Are you with me, ma'am? I can't hear you. You probably need to unmute your audio.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining in this discussion. Thank you so much. So the first question is, I want to ask you, why would you encourage the girl child to be a part of the ICT industry?
Okay, I think at this point in time, to be very honest, this. I was just being muted. So what I'm saying is that there's actually no clear definition of what roles women and men or boys and girls should play, because the playing ground has been leveled, right? It's just that sometimes because of stereotypes out there, the ICT world has come to be dominated by men, and sometimes it sends away the women or the young women. So what I would say is that the young women need their own heroes. They need women who are doing things in this space to stand out there and show them, to say, this is doable. You can be part of this. It's not about the men, it's about what you want. It's about what you want to do and what you want to achieve. So basically, I think the space is open. It's just us showing them the way, especially those of us who are doing things. We should not be in the background, because the more we stay in the background, the more we actually close that space for them, because they're not seeing anyone who looks like them doing things in the space.
Thank you very much. The space must be leveled, that the space need, and they need their own heroes. So my next question will go to Ms. Sherifat Akinwonmi. Ma, can you please tell us what efforts are people who are already in the industry making to make sure that, of course, I know people like you, you're making waves, you're trying to be up there for the girls and everything like that. So what are the things the girl child is doing now?
Is it on WhatsApp?
What are the things that parents are supposed to be doing to make sure that they actually get a place in the ICT industry?
Okay, thank you very much. There's so much background noise, unfortunately. I hope you can hear me.
There's so much background noise.
Yes, and we can hear you. Okay, great. So thanks for the question. So on what can parents do? First of all, what we need is that open your mind. As parents, please just try and open your mind. Most of the time, children are blessed with the openness of mind, which means that the moment they are born, they do not know any boundaries. They do not know any complications. Their mind is open. They are willing to explore. But the moment we begin to put boundaries for them, the moment we begin to restrict them, that is when they begin to believe that they can achieve things. So as parents, please, first thing is open your mind. Make sure that you provide the opportunity for them to use their inquisitiveness, you know, and also, right after that, also give them exposure. So, you know, enroll them in things that can help them. If you notice that this is what my child is interested in, my child loves to play games, my child loves to put things together, science and technology, either a boy or a girl, please do not restrict that child to only doing one thing. There's so much background, I'm worried you can't hear me. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes,
so as I was
please
saying,
hold on.
I think it's better now. So as I was saying, that it's very important as parents that we give that exposure to children right from the beginning. We enable them in a way that once we see what they are interested in, we do not put barriers. Barriers such as saying that you are not a girl, you are not a boy, you cannot be, you know, fixing a toy, or you can't put together the remote control, things as little as that. These are unseen barriers and biases that girl child often face, and then limits them into their, developing their full potential. And then when we now get to school, we find out that at the beginning, the girl child, they get interested in science. Towards the senior classes, they begin to drift away. We need to continue to support them. Like Yaliwe spoke earlier, we need to put people needs to be there so that when the girl child is growing, they can see that, okay, I can see someone like me. This is a lady, this is a girl doing this, and I can also do it. But if a girl child is growing up and they can't see a look-alike, they automatically believe that, okay, this is not for me, then I'll drop. And there's no kind of career that a man can do that, a boy can do that a girl cannot do. Definitely. No matter how technical it is, people have been doing it. The best of the scientists, they've always been women. So there are no barriers at all. Thank you. You're on mute, Sister Rasheedah.
Okay, can you hear me now? Thank you. So I'm saying that my next question will go to Yaliwe Soko. Miss Yaliwe Soko, I need you to help us perhaps that there's a thing that our mind is preconditioned to believing that whenever you're always seen with a laptop, or whenever you're always, something that has to do with ICT, a lot of people attribute it to fraud, or let me say the common name, Yahoo Yahoo. Do you understand? And how much more when it's a girl, they make it seem like, it's not something that is very, very good. And now, of course, this one actually has something to do with the parents. So I really want you to talk about that.
Okay, thank you so much for having me again.
Question.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me again. So I think also it's the information that is relayed out there, right? So if you talk of Yahoo, I would really relate that to, let's say, the Nigerian context of maybe young people carrying laptops, right? That is not the same case if you come to a place like South Africa, right? That is, you look at tablets and laptops and computers are actually made available at schools. And I think in most households, those things are available. But I think with the parents, it's really trying to understand what the child is doing with that laptop. Definitely some parents in more, I would say, more developed countries sometimes put a precaution to what a child can do with that laptop for fear of exposure to a lot of things that are actually not good, right? So you say, okay, I'm going to limit the applications on this laptop. I'm going to limit the applications on this tablet because my child might be exposed to certain things that are not right, which is a very good thing. And also at the same time, it limits their kind of ability to explore. So I think mostly it's trying to see how do you balance both of those things. And also, if you look at talking about scams, I also think, like I said, it's a misconception, right? So because of the word that has gone out there to say, oh, if you see a young person in Nigeria busy on the laptop, they're either trying to scam somebody or they're about to commit a fraudulent activity. I think it's a lot of information and education needs to go out there and say, you know what? Do not limit the abilities of these young people. And with the young woman, sometimes they feel like, look, there's things that needs to be done at home, right? There's chores that need to be done. There's a whole lot of things that need to be done. You need to do those things. What are you doing on your laptop? You are a woman, you won't get married. There's all those things. And if you look at the African child's mindset, usually it's an education. I'm originally Zambian. And when I look at that, it's okay, I need to go to school, primary school, high school, and from high school, I need to get into college, and mostly the careers gravitate towards being a teacher, a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, and from that, I don't think I need to explore other waters because what comes after college is marriage, right? And marriage, I need to start having children and taking care of my family. So it's like you can be somebody, but you can't be too much. You can't go beyond that, because once you go beyond that, you are not going to be able to keep a home. And sometimes when they see a child gravitating towards being really, really exposed and also being really active in trying to better themselves, they try to put that barrier because it's what society states should happen. So I think that's what needs to change.
Thank you very much. You know, it's high time we need to start making people understand that the girl child can be somebody, and of course, it's not too much when you aspire to be the best of the best of the best of whatever you want to be. Thank you very much for your submission. Just before we continue, I want to remind our YouTube viewers that they can drop their questions on YouTube, whatever questions we have, and then we can have them answered here. So the participants should also drop their names on the YouTube section. Please drop your names, and if you have questions, please do drop your questions on the segment section on YouTube. So of course, moving on with the discussion, let me ask Ms. Sherifat Akinwonmi. Ma, please, can you please tell us what the girl should be doing now? For example, like she said, or like you said earlier on, that there are certain things the girl child will do in the house, and they will make them feel like they are not supposed to be doing it. They're not supposed to try to fix the TV remote. They're not supposed to, you know, do something. You're not a boy, you shouldn't be doing that. So what should every young child, every young girl child out there watching us now, what should they be doing in terms of their academics and in terms of trying to launch into the ICT career?
Okay, thank you very much. So in terms of what the child should be doing, basically, first of all, I'll say, please follow your interest. So if you love to put together the remote, if you love to break things apart and you like to put it together, please pursue that. You may be looking at being an engineer. If you love to see how a game works, you have a mobile application, you have a mobile game, and you want to see how it works. And then you are interested in seeing the, you know, what is behind it, the engineering behind it, the technology behind it. Please go further and chase it. So in a nutshell, go for your interest. The most important thing, and why most technologists or most people in ITC, why they are mostly successful, is because they are doing what they love. In anything you're doing, if you do not love it, if you do not have passion for it, there's most likely the possibility that you may not be successful, because you begin to see it every day as a chore. You begin to see it every day as work, rather than seeing it as every day as, you know, something you love, a hobby, and it's something you love that you develop on. It's something you love that will keep you up in the night, that will make you search for solutions. And what is ICT? ICT is solving problems. So if you look at the definition of digital today, what digital simply means is that it resolves creating a solution, making something easier rather than doing it the manual way. So like, for instance, for this conference, we should have been gathered in a hall somewhere in Lagos, you know, or in whatever location. But because of COVID, we are online. Technology has solved that problem, that we are still able to achieve this conference by doing it online, okay? So that is what digital is about. So if your interests, if you are not interested in something, there's no way you will be interested in solving the problem. There's no way you're going to put everything into what you love. So whatever it is you have interest for, see no barriers. Know that you have the ability. Know that there are people there who are doing it. There are people, there are ladies, there are girls that have done it in the past, and you can be successful. And even though it's not easy, you just have to continue to do it. The fact that you love what you're doing, then you definitely be successful. So I'll put it in a nutshell. As a girl child, what should you be doing? Chase after your passion. If it's something you like to do, go after it, and then you will be successful at it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's actually very important to chase our passions, because we, apart from the fact that we're going to be successful, it also makes us a sense of fulfillment. We're going to do. Thank you. So, of course, I will be asking Ms. Yaliwe Soko my next question. And the question is that So a lot of people, for someone like me, when I was young, I only knew few professions. I only knew there was medicine, banking, law, and what's that other common profession around. So that was the only thing we're meant to believe. We're meant to believe, oh, the only professional things we could go into were medicine, lawyer, being a lawyer, and other professional bodies like that. So a lot of people do not know the opportunities that are bound in the ICT. So I need you to enumerate some of them for us, just so people know, okay, I can do this, I can do that, I can do besides all of the ones I mentioned earlier.
Okay,
Do you get my question?
Yes, I did. Thank you so much. So I'm looking at the opportunities in ICT. To be honest, the opportunities are actually endless, right? Just going back to what Ms. Sherifat said, look, if you're in the ICT space, what you can do is there's so many ways you can look at it. You can become a programmer. You can actually even be in the ICT space in admin, right? There's a whole lot of different levels in which you can, it just depends on your interest and you have to actually chase that. I'll give you an example of myself. So you're talking about the girl child who maybe you're thinking about all these other careers and say, this is what it's supposed to be. Fine, I was in high school. I was at a good school. The only exposure I ever had with a computer was how to switch it on and off, and also how to create a folder, right? So beyond that, I really had no other exposure to a computer. And along the way, I met this young lady studying IT, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I want to do this. Yes, there are barriers that come along the way. And I say, okay, apply to college. Fees are so expensive. My parents can't afford it. I don't do it. I don't do it, but I get into different roles. I start taking myself to school, whether it's on a Saturday. It wasn't ICT related. But if you really want to do something, somewhere an opportunity will arise. And my opportunity came through blockchain technology. Not that I had to go to school to study that, but because I was interested and looking at, just going back to what Ms. Sherifat said, looking at now we're able to have this conversation on Zoom because it has been made available by the use of the internet, of applications that are built on top of the internet and all other things, right? I was able to go and do research because now all these resources have been made available to me. I did not need a teacher. And with that research, I was able to gather the information that I needed and I started applying it. I started applying it by just talking about it and talking to people about it. Sometimes my friends would say to me, oh my God, here she is again with her blockchain stuff, right? They were like, oh, please, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that story. Can we just talk about something else for once? But I kept at it. I kept exploring. And then an opportunity came that I was given a scholarship program. And that was my first interaction with the actual technology and what it looks like and how it works, right? No ICT exposure, but my interest actually made me get that opportunity. And with that opportunity, now I had firsthand experience with the technology. And when I went to that, when I went to Japan, I was top learner out of 50 learners from across the world. People who had exposure to technology already, people who are already programmers, but I came out on top, not because I was the best, but because I was determined to be the best at that particular time. And with that, we're looking at this COVID-19 situation. And looking at everybody else, I am the chairwoman of the United Africa Blockchain Association. It's an association that is looking at educating more people and exposing them to these possibilities. On top of that, I got a job as an eco-lead for a company that is based in San Francisco, and I'm the South African eco-lead. Those are opportunities as well. It also gives you the opportunity to be a global citizen. I always say that. There's a true meaning of global citizenship. It's me being able to participate in an American economy while I'm sitting back in my house in South Africa. A long time ago, if I needed to get a job in the US, I was supposed to get a visa, get on a plane, go and get accommodation in the US and stay there because I got a job. Now I can work from anywhere around the world. So the possibilities are really endless and it just depends on your interest and where you really want to place yourself. Thank you.
Wow, that was quite impressive. And of course, that's to show that there's really no limitations. There is really do. Nothing that we cannot do. There, as a girl child, there is really nothing that we cannot do. There is no limitations. There are enough ground. Whole lot. So, okay, thank you very much. I just want to remind those of us that are watching us on YouTube that we can drop our questions. If you have questions for any of the panel, okay, so Frida today, and why discourage someone she is Muslim that she cannot be a lawyer or something. So, Ms. Sherifat, can you please answer that question? So somebody is asking that why do people discourage them from doing what they love, and then that what can she do?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I heard you. So the question is, someone is asking why she's discouraged and from doing what she loves. Okay, so first thing first, you need to understand that people can only advise based on their own knowledge and their own exposure. So I'll give you an example. In Africa, in Nigeria specifically, people of our age, most of our parents only were able to have education to a certain level, which means that their level of exposure is at a certain stage. Now, a parent that hasn't heard about latest technologies such as robotics, such as, cybersecurity and some other areas new in technology, if you go to such a parent and say, this is what I want to do, they will only advise you based on what they know. So it is now left for you to know that, okay, this person is only advising based on what they cannot determine how far I should go. If you know what you're doing is legitimate, it is something you love to do, and it is the right thing to do, please see no barriers. You can go further to educate such a person. If you know this person's opinion matters in your life, such as your parents, right? You know that they have a say in how far you can go while you're still with them. You need to bring them on board. You can share resources. You can get people who are already in that field to speak to them, right? I have a lot of ladies I mentor whom, I had one the other day, and she's really interested in coding. She's really interested in programming languages, and the parents keep saying, no, you're developing to be an hacker. I don't want you to be an hacker. She wants to be a white hacker. Yes, she wants to hack, but she wants to do it legitimately. She wants to be a white hacker. She doesn't want to be a bad guy. But to catch the bad guys, guess what? You need to learn how to be a bad guy, even if you are a white hacker. But the parents keep saying, no, you're going about doing this. And then I had to step in. She spoke to me. How can you help me speak to my mom? This is the issue. She needs to see that there are people like you that are doing this and they are doing well. Please, can you explain what it means? And then we got into a telephone call and we had discussion. She relayed her fears. She talked about what the issues are and how much, she doesn't want problems. And we had to do some sort of education. And guess what? She's now in support of the child. The child is doing well. She's beginning to do things, So you need to look at the source of your advice. So what limitation has this source? The advice could be genuine. This person could really be concerned for you. They may really think that this is not the best decision you're making. But the first thing is, do you know if it's the right decision? Is this something you love? Then try to get facts and education, share with this person and get the person on. If it's still a struggle, then share. There are industry leaders, there are people whom you can share what you're doing with this person and let them know that this is what I'm looking after. Please do not take advices that will limit your potential, basically. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. The network was quite crappy, but I got most of your points. Thank you very much, ma'am. There's a question here, and I want Ms. Yaliwe Soko to answer the question. And the person is asking that your ICT industry is very broad, and like you're making research and all of that. But this person still wants to know if there are specific aspects Like there are specific aspects of ICT. Like, so and how many are they?
Okay.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. And just before that, I'd just like to say that I might be dropping off in the next 10 minutes for a doctor's appointment. So I might not be able to be there for the rest of the event. And thank you so much for having me. So looking at the ICT aspects, to be honest, I can't really say right now, these are the certain aspects. I would say maybe from my field and what I'm doing, I'll be able to elaborate on that. So looking at the field I'm in, and that is emerging technologies, there's it just depends on your your interest, right? There's what we're calling now the fourth industrial revolution. There's the aspect of you being part of the Internet of Things, doing robotics. There's machine learning, there's blockchain technology. You could learn in all those aspects. You could learn how to code. That's one of the things that you could do. You could be a front end or back end developer. So there's so many aspects to it. And I think it just depends on what piques your interest. Personally, when I got into the space, I did not get into the space as a technical person. I got into the space because I looked at the possibilities of the technology that I was actually interested in. So when I looked at those possibilities, I now started getting the exposure to other things that I didn't know, right? And it's been a learning cave. Even right now, I'm still learning about the different aspects of the technology that I'm interested in. And so looking at that from a broader perspective, I think it would be great maybe coming from somebody that is really more technical than I am. They'll be able to elaborate on the other aspects of ICT.
I could elaborate on that. I had a slide, Ms. Rasheedah. If I could be given access to share screen, I put together something. So I don't know if that is okay.
You can share your screen now, ma.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, please let me know when you can see.
Yes, ma,
okay,
I can
great.
see. I can see your
So I'll
screen
just
now.
go to that particular, I put together a slide. So this particular slide talks about the top 5 careers in IT. Yeah, like Yaliwe, she said earlier, the opportunities are endless. But however, if you look at what is trending now, there are 5 areas. So you could be a software developer. What do they do? These are the people that create games, that create mobile applications. If you look at, for instance, almost all of the applications that we have today, a lot of them are mobile applications. These are the people that build your website. These are the people that build software that we use, the banking software and the likes. Right now, the topmost career in IT, I can say confidently, is a software developer, because you are creating products, you are creating things that people use. You can sell this product. For instance, Facebook is a software, right? Instagram is a software. Twitter is a software. It's an application running. WhatsApp is an application. So if you create an application, if you develop skills in this area and you create an application, and a lot of people see value in your application, before you know it, you could be selling it out a significant amount to a Facebook or to a Twitter. So this is one of the greatest areas. And to be a software developer, what do you need to do? You need to learn to code. You need to learn to program. There are many programming applications, you know, that you can learn. There's Java, there's Python that can help you become a software developer. So that's one. Secondly, is the cybersecurity expert. This is another trending career, which is also my field. You could be a pen tester. These are the people that make sure that the software that's been developed are secured. So imagine you building a software and then it gets compromised and people using it and they are losing their money, they're losing their information and things like that. The cybersecurity experts, which ranges in different careers as well, as a pen tester, a white hacker, bug hunter, consultant, security manager, they are responsible for ensuring that all of the information and the application are secure. There's also network engineer. A network engineer is the one that ensures that there's internet, there's network for you to be able to use this application and for us to achieve that connectivity. Then robotics engineer, very closely related to software developer, because Robotics is all about rules. So you create a robot. Most of the chat box that we see on internet that we relate with, behind them are rules that work. That says after A, do this. And guess what? Those rules are what are called programming. They are the codes that have already been created. So it relates very closely to software developer. And then as a database administrator, most of the information collected from application are actually stored on a database. And it's a database administrator that makes sure that this database is running and is actually providing the required information. So for instance, I want to log into my internet banking of my bank account. And you know how important it is to have your bank and your money there. And then I log in, and I know that before I slept yesterday, I had 2,000 Naira in my bank account. And if I log in today and I can only see 500 Naira, I'll go ballistic. I'll just call the bank and say, what happened to my money? It is the database administrator that will make sure that the integrity of the database is secured, which means that somebody, and in conjunction with a cybersecurity expert, that someone does not have access to go and tamper with the data in the database. So these are just the 5 that I wanted to highlight, but there are lots more, there are a lot. I'll also talk about bug hunters. So to be a bug hunter now, I don't need to be employed by a company. A company do not have to employ me and say, oh, you are now. I can sit in the comfort of my home, look at an application for any organization in the world. I know companies like Microsoft, like Twitter, and a couple of other companies pay bug hunters a lot. And then I begin to explore the application. I begin to look at it. What are the loopholes? I think can I exploit this application? Can I break into this application? And the moment you can, for instance, with Microsoft, if you submit that to Microsoft, they'll pay you a lot of money because you have helped them to find out about the vulnerability so that they can close it before the bad guys pick it up. All right, so this is about the top careers in IT. Thank you.
That was a great.
Sorry, I'm trying to stop sharing screen. Okay.
All right, now. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's been very interesting session. I've learned a lot. I hope that our parents have learned a lot. So girls have learned a lot too. So parents should be that please make pay attention to the kids and know what they really love you, and then we should make sure that would give charge. It is important. And then, of course, we need to make them have, we need to start looking up to people like Miss Yaliwe Soko, Miss Sherifat, Akinwonmi, Miss Fatima, everybody here today that has been, that has come to this event to inspire people, to educate us, that we keep looking up to them, that we know that the space is big enough to accommodate everyone, that you don't have to limit yourself, that ICT is not about Yahoo, it's not about fraud, that we understand that it is very important that we pay attention to our interests and then we follow it very well. See no barriers and you can be successful. So we have come to the end of the first session, and of course, Ms. is still here, is still very much here, and then she would be taking us on the second session. It was very, very good to speak with Ms. Yaliwe Soko and Ms. Sherifat. Thank you very much for coming on the event to have this insightful discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rasheedah. Distinguished speaker.